manager of other staff, what's the best way of making sure that my team is competent?
Now, this is a big one for lawyers because we're very task driven. So we like to know what the task is and then we put our minds to it and get on with it. But of course, this sort of task isn't chargeable hours. So it tends to be put to one side unless someone's giving us some kind of template or a nudge. And I think this is where we could go a bit wrong. So what I would say is, in an ideal world, you'll have a firm business plan, and that business plan will hopefully have made it quite clear what your team has to deliver in order for the firm to fulfil its business plan. So if you start with what your business targets are and say, okay, that means each individual in this team has to achieve something. So it might be so many chargeable hours, obviously, but perhaps correctly delivered work. Then you could start to say, well, okay, what does this particular person have to do better to enable them to contribute to that objective in the firm? So that requires some kinds of analysis. Now, this could be hard identification of things which you have in the office. So it could be checking as you would their financial targets and their chargeable hours, number of files they're managing, how quickly and efficiently they're getting through them. It could be the file reviews that look at how they're dealing with particular jobs. You could see where there might be files where things aren't quite as they might be. Are they shying away from picking up the telephone, hiding behind email, that kind of thing. And so it really is bringing together some of the things you're doing anyway, like file reviews, and that's your hard evidence, to be able to sit down with that person and say, look, I want to explain what your objectives are within the firm. I want to explain what I see you're doing. So can we agree about how we might attack this issue or strengthen this area? And that's your analysis. Now, it could be a little bit of soft analysis as well. So instead of having some tangible evidence, it's your observation. It might even be someone in a different department saying, well, this person is regularly letting my clients down. I recommend my business clients to you for a will, and then they're never meeting the deadline. They're overspending what they said they were going to charge. So you've got some anecdotal evidence, but nevertheless, it's valuable evidence, which you can then sit down with the person and say, look, perhaps you're not very good at quoting and you need some help with pricing and quoting. It may be you're not very good at managing your time. So these are the sort of things in a team situation where, yes, there's the technical law side, and you probably observe that from how they deal with things, but there's a lot of soft skills there which are coming out through your analysis and helping that person, perhaps as part of their appraisal, to see what the plan should be for the year, and say, well, okay, these are things we ought to look out for. And so you have the advantage there that you're very close to them, and that, you know, wanting to work alongside them, you can say, well, I think you should observe me doing X, or go with Fred to do that a few more times before you really can feel you're confident in this, and let's talk again. Or there may be an element where you're saying, well, this is something I really need you to go on a course about. There's something that's being held. Let's talk about what the content of that course is before you go, what I'd really like you to feel you could get out of that course before you go. And then when you come back, tell me what you thought about it. What has it made you think you could do better next time in the office? And if you are acting as a manager of people, that's really what you need to be doing, taking quite a lot of responsibility for the job, which is management, making sure that you're with them all the way and giving them internal opportunities to express themselves and stretch themselves, but at the same time talking to them both before and after learning events. So you might say, well, go away and read chapter 10 of this book because I think that's a really good grounding in this topic, or go and watch this webinar. That will give you a start, and then let's talk about it. And maybe in that discussion afterwards, you could actually throw in a case they're working on. Say, well, how does this particular rule affect Mrs. Bloggs' case? So you're getting them to think practically about what they've listened to or learnt. And I think that's a really important thing. So as a manager of the staff, you have to do analysis, you have to use the tools that are available in the office, but you do actually have to be hands-on and guide them through it.